Mount Bogong, /Bo/, located in the Alpine National Park and part of the Victorian Alps of the Great Dividing Range, is the highest mountain in Victoria, Australia, at 1,986 meters, 6,516 feet, above sea level. The Big River separates the massif of the mountain from the Bogong High Plains to the south. From the nearby town of Mount Beauty to its summit, Mount Bogong rises more than 1,600 meters, 5,200 feet, citation needed, thus making it one of the highest peaks in Australia not only in terms of its elevation above sea level, but also in terms of actual base to summit prominence. Mount Bogong is a popular backcountry skiing mountain through winter but only has snow for the midwinter spring months. It is around 30 kilometers, 19 miles, by road and walking track or 12 kilometers, 7.5 miles, direct to Mount Beauty. Falls Creek and Mount Hotham ski resorts are also nearby. Camping is relatively safe below the tree line but the summit ridgeline is very exposed. Emergency shelter is also available at Bivouac Hut on the Staircase Spur, and at Cleve Cole, above Camp Creek on the Broad Ridge to the south of the summit, and Mitchell's Hut on the Eskdale Spur. Mount Bogong towers above the Kaiwar River Valley and is of great significance to the local traditional owners. Parks Victoria states that many Aboriginal people have a remarkably rich history of Aboriginal use in the Victorian Alps and a vast knowledge of the cultural sites, oral history and ancestral stories that relate to the alpine region of Victoria. Throughout the many seasons each year, Aboriginal groups would come from as far away as the coast and southwest slopes, to meet with the tribes of the mountains for intertribal ceremonies and feasting on Bogong moths. During these festivities they would exchange cultural objects and materials for tools. According to Eddie Kneebone, an indigenous historian, the Yatmathong people controlled the Kaiwah and Mitamita valleys. They also had control of the alpine region on the Victorian side. Their southernmost boundary extended to Hotham and ran along the highest ridgeline of the Alps in an east-west direction. Because Mount Bogong fell within the Yatmathong territory, permission had to be gained from them by the other tribes participating in the summer feast. Once this was done, the tribes would spend summer in the cooler climate of the mountains feasting on the protein-rich Bogong moth. Kneebone claims that prior to climbing Mount Bogong and the Bogong High Plains, the tribes would gather by the Murray River at Mungabarina, near modern Albury. After ceremonies, initiations, marriages, trading, settling of disputes, and renewing of alliances and friendships, the groups would walk from Albury to the mountain region to feed on the protein-rich Bogong moths. Following European settlement, indigenous groups were decimated and survivors were placed onto settlements, often far from the traditional lands. Indigenous visitation to Mount Bogong is generally understood to have finished by the mid-19th century. While there was cattle grazing for some time, it was the walkers and then skiers who became the next group to visit the mountain in large numbers. In August 1936 Mick Hull, Howard Mitchell and Cleve Cole attempted the first winter crossing of the Bogong High Plains. The group became lost in blizzard conditions and Cole died of hypothermia soon after he and Mick Hull were discovered by a rescue party raised by Mitchell. Cole was buried on 22 August at the Cheltenham Pioneer Cemetery. The hut commemorating Cole's life was completed in 1938, and has served as the hub of backcountry skiing and bushwalking exploration of the Bogong area since. Accommodation at the hut is free on a first-in first-served basis, although donations to the Bogong Club are welcomed. Parks Victoria advises skiers and walkers to carry an alpine-capable tent, and not to rely on accommodation in the huts. Cole's death illustrates the danger of Mount Bogong and of the Victorian Alps in general. The mountains are geologically old and worn. Their low altitude and flattish, rounded tops make for easy skiing and walking, but descent of their steep sides and whiteout conditions can be perilous.